What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In today's video, we're jumping into Radioactive Spider-Man, part of Age of Revelation, issue number 2. I'm pretty sure this is part 35 of the Age of Revelation. Absolutely ginormous story. But when it comes to Peter Parker, we're kind of picking up on ground level. We're picking up in New York City. Remaining a force for good with the help of Cecilia Reyes, Peter is able to stave off the full effects of the X-Virus by dosing himself with a lethal dose of radiation. And you would ask, why would he stay there? That is because of Aunt May. You see, Peter wasn't able to save her. He wasn't able to get her out of the city before the X-Virus hit her. And so Aunt May mutated. The X-Virus changed her forever. Everyone sees the monster that Aunt May has become. Even so, Peter remains. He helps her. He cares for her. May Parker may just be the death of Peter. Now, this story, it starts us off on Revelation Day, the day it all went down. The overgrowth taking over the city, the monsters let loose. And Peter is doing what he does best. He swings through the city, and he saves as many innocent souls as he can. Now, while he's able to save these two, he gets them to ground level, and then he calls MJ, getting a hold of her, finding out that he's only a few blocks away. He was gonna finish helping these people out, but then the mom, she transforms, barfs all over the kid. The kid, a huge explosion of energy coming out of her. Now, Peter sees this, and he's like, holy hell. He tells MJ, get to the roof now, I'm on my way. Humans are either dying or they're mutating. Buildings are crumbling or transforming. Horror after horror is unfolding. Now Peter's gotta wonder, am I gonna turn? Am I gonna die? Is something worse gonna happen? Getting to his apartment, breaking through the window. He calls out to MJ. He calls out to May. But Peter was already too late. This is where we have Peter jolted awake from this nightmare, waking up and making sure that May is okay. She's calm, she's sedated, and she's not currently a monster. She transforms back and forth from regular Aunt May into the hideous, horrendous monster the X-Virus transformed her into. Cecilia telling him, like, why don't we go say hi while Aunt May is actually able to talk with us? It appears that Aunt May has no recollection of her being a monster. It's almost like she has dementia, maybe even Alzheimer's at her age. And Peter, you can see the sorrow in his eyes, the heartache that builds up, telling May just, I've missed you so much. But for May, it's like it hasn't been that long, because for her, just the other day, she was making food for both him and MJ. But we can see that her memory is still messing with her. Now, Peter goes on to say that Mary Jane moved a while ago, that I can't expect you to keep track of all the ladies that I have around. But he tells her that I love you, that you never gave up on me, and I'm not giving up on you. A little bit later that evening, we pick up with Cecilia and we pick up with Peter. They know that they gotta do something. These apartments are full of people 3 blocks away. This is the best that they could do if May has another episode. Cecilia's force field amplified are the best shot at averting another disaster. You know, telepathy, restraints, tranquilizers. None of it have worked. Sinister's suspension pod was one of a kind. They have spent a decade looking for a cure for the virus. May will transform again, but they're not at the point of putting her down. Not yet. And so Peter goes in. Rand applied. At least that's what it used to be called. One of the only scientific facilities left in the city. Still having the same outlet, still carries the memories of all of his old dead friends. He had grabbed something that maybe might have some bearing on the question on how to suppress May's mutation. Just maybe. But if he's being honest with himself, he can say with the utmost certainty that this is not going to work at all. Some might call this a guilt-driven, self-destructive choice. Some might pose it that he did it to block out the reality of May's situation. But the only solution that keeps coming to his mind over and over again is the unthinkable one. Now, at this point, Peter, he thinks to himself, maybe I could give up right here. I could let this guy kill me, and we could just be done with it all. And in a sense, it sounds tempting to him. No more responsibility, no more choice, no more pain. This is where we have the arrival of Ghost Spider and Spin. Peter hears Miles' voice, and it makes him damn near want to cry when he remembers the last words that they had said to one another. and makes him want to cry even harder. Now Peter's like, how are you here, and is there a cure? There's no cure, but they have a few hours of really tricking the virus into thinking that they're already mutated. But while they're talking, even Peter's like, it kind of sort of feels like you want to hit me. Like, I want to hit myself sometimes too. If it makes you feel better, I'll give you a freebie. But this is when they tell Peter that the Avengers, they need you out west. All the way out west. Now, Peter tells him straight up, like, make sure you guys grab a bagel for your trek home because you're gonna need it. They're quite better than you remember. But he tells him, like, my family's here and I can't leave. Though they would go on to say that we're your family too. He say May's awake. This is when Miles is like, that's why you're still here. Are you kidding me? And he hits him. Miles was under the impression that Aunt May was dead. Miles' whole family has died. Yet Peter is still trying to save Aunt May. How many more people are gonna have to suffer because you won't do what needs to be done? That's when Peter asks, if this were your mother, would you do the same? Would you just simply kill your mom? But that's when Ghost Spider goes on to say, this went exactly as I expected it to go, but we came a long way and we need you to listen to us, at least before you kick us to the curb. Now Peter, he's like, Gwen, I'm sorry, but I simply can't. This is when they show him something, and he's like, that's not real. It can't be. And she says, I'm sorry, but it is. That's why it has to be you, Peter. Now, as they get back to home base, we're not really informed on why the Avengers need him out west. We just know that he's needed, and it's obvious that it can only be Peter. But with Gwen here and Miles here, they kind of catch up a little bit. Peter's like, yeah, I'm pretty much dying, so that's why I don't look so great. But you, on the other hand, California looks like he agrees with you greatly. This is where Miles is like, you gotta come with us. You are literally dying to stay here on a fool's errand. Miles even goes on to say that if this were my mother, she would be dead, along with everyone else. You've tried and tried and tried, but you've hit the end of the road. While they have this conversation, Aunt May shows up in the room. Seeing Gwen Stacy, it starts messing with her mind because Gwen Stacy died. Peter tries to explain that she's not that Gwen, that you're confused. Telling Miles you need to go and you need to go now. This is when May's like, I went to her funeral. I know what I see. Gwen died at the hands of that terrible Spider-Man. And Peter's telling them, get out of here, go, run. This is where Aunt May transforms. And we see what the X-Virus has done to her. We see the monstrositous thing that Aunt May has turned into as they run for their lives. That is where this issue will end. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Like, honestly, Radioactive Spider-Man, I was like, that's not a story I'm gonna read. I don't need it. It has nothing to do with X-Men. I don't care about it. Now, here I am sitting like, holy shit, why am I not getting more of this story? The Age of Revelation has really surprised me in the 3-issue small little mini stories that they're telling throughout this. Most of them have been really good, which is not usually a consistent thing for Marvel Comics. Usually the main story, it's got the big hits in it, while the side stories can be good, but are usually not great. In this circumstance, this story about Aunt May becoming a monster and Peter staying behind, injecting himself with radiation just so he can try to find a cure is so mother-flippin' Spider-Man coded, you couldn't make a better story with 3 issues than this right here, Radioactive Spider-Man. Like, holy crap, this is great. The only thing that would make this better is if you gave us more. If you gave us like 5 issues to really flush out this story, kind of like they did with, Spider's Shadow, you could definitely tell an amazing, in-depth, emotional, impactful story. Not to say that it's not possible with 3 issues, but you really do have to cut some corners when you're limiting yourself to only 3 issues that are roughly 24 pages long. But even with that limitation, in these 2 issues, we've got an emotionally impactful story where Peter is struggling. Peter wants to die, even thinking like he wants to kill Aunt May, hating himself for having these thoughts. And then Miles shows up, and Miles is telling him, dude, you need to do it. You need to do it, and you need to come out with us because we actually need you, and you are wasting away here. You are literally dying here in New York, and the world needs you. But it looks like that decision might be made for him because Aunt May, seeing Gwen Stacy and her already messed up mind of Alzheimer's, mutations, X-virus, and everything in between, she sees Gwen Stacy and it breaks her brain. She can't compute, she cannot comprehend the situation, and it causes her mutation. The monster comes out. Their biggest fear is here. Now the big question is this the death of Aunt May? Does Peter put her down right here? Or does he die the hero? Does he die trying to save Aunt May? Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that has been going on with the Age of Revelation, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It's going to get you completely caught up on everything that is going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. This is a lot like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, you're getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me the favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.